Hey there, welcome to the second video in my series on mastering the fretboard. We're going to build upon what we learned last week, or last video, which was the natural notes on the neck being C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. Last week we talked about the concept of a half step, which is moving either up or down one fret, or whole step, which is going up or down 2 frets. To review that, for example, and to start building upon what we're going to learn this week, which is the sharps and flat notes, let's play a G on the 3rd fret 6th string. If we move that up 1/2 step, we're between G and A. So moving that up 1 fret, G becomes G sharp at the 4th fret. Now, whereas the natural notes have one single name for each note, C being C, D being D, E being E, for example, our sharp and flat notes, what you're going to find is one tone is actually going to have 2 different names, and that's ultimately going to depend on what key you're playing in, or how the key is written is going to determine whether a note's called a sharp or flat. So for example, we have again a G at the 3rd fret, 6th string. If we move that up 1/2 fret, or 1/2 step to the 4th fret, we have a G sharp. Now if we play an A at the 6th string, 5th fret, and move that down 1/2 step to the 4th fret, we have an A flat. So again, that G sharp is the same as an A flat. Right now, again, we're not concerned with why one particular tone has 2 different names. We just want to be able to identify the actual names for those particular tones. So this week we're going to again have 3 different methods for practicing the names of these notes on the neck. The first one is quite simply going up and down each string 1 fret at a time. So for example, if we start on the 6th string open, which is E, we already know from last video that half step up from E is F. So the 1st fret there on the 6th string is F. Now going up a half step from F, we have F sharp. Half step up from that, we have G. Half step up from G, G sharp. Half step up from G sharp, we have A. Half step up from A is A sharp. Half step up from A sharp is B. Half step up from B we already know is C. Half step up from C is C sharp. Half step up from C sharp is D. Half step up from D is D sharp. And then finally, half step up from D sharp at the 12th fret, 6th string, we have E again. Now going back down this time, we're going to call out those, instead of calling them out as sharps, we're going to call out the flats. So starting with the E at the 12th fret 6th string, going down a half step, we have E flat. Half step down from E flat, we have D. Half step down from D, we have D flat. Half step down from D flat, we have C. Half step down from C, we have B. Half step down from B, we have B flat. Half step down from B flat, we have A. Half step down from A, we have A flat. Half step down from A flat, we have G. Half step down from G, we have G flat. Half step down from G flat, we have F. And a half step down from F, we're back to E. So doing that on the 5th string now. Going up, starting open, A, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Going back down, calling out the flats this time. A flat, G, G flat, F, E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, back to A. Open 4th string, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. Going back down, D, D flat, C, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, F, E, E flat, D. Do the same thing on the final three strings. So the starting with the third string open, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, etc., all the way up to the 12th fret. Then coming back down, B, B flat, A flat, finally ending where you started back at that open third string. Do that also with the second string B, starting from B open, going all the way up to the 12th fret B, and back down. Again, calling out the sharps as you go up and calling the flats as you go down. And finally the sixth string, which is just a repeat of the sixth string. It just everything sounds a lot higher. So open E, all the way up to E at the 12th fret, and then back down. Again, calling the sharps as you go up and the flats as you go down. Now, our second method of practicing these note names, we're going to stay with a single string, but this time we're going to mix the notes up. And like last week, there is a reason behind the order that I'm giving you these notes. However, the reason will be explained later into the series when we talk about keys and scales and modes. So we're not worried about why we're playing it in this order. We're just trying to mix things up a little bit to make you think a little bit. So as we play the notes this time, instead of playing, calling them out as flats or sharps, only we're going to name both note names for each individual tone that we play. So the first tone in the order that we're going to play, and there's only 5 of them here, we're going to start with a B flat, which is also an A sharp, then move on to E flat, which is the same as D sharp, move on to A flat, which is the same as G sharp, move on to D flat, which is the same as C sharp, and then finally G flat, which is also the same as F sharp. So for example, on the 6th string, we'll start with B flat at the 6th fret, which is also an A sharp. Then we'll move on to E flat at the 11th fret, which is also a D sharp. A flat at the 4th string, 4th fret 6th string, which is also a G sharp. D flat at the 9th fret 6th string, which is also a C sharp. 2nd fret 6th string, which is G flat, which is the same as F sharp. Repeating that on the 5th string, starting with B flat, 1st fret, which is also an A sharp, moving up to the 6th fret, 5th string, E flat, which is also a D sharp, up to the 11th fret, A flat, which is the same as a G sharp, down to the 4th fret, D flat, which is the same as a C sharp, and then finally a G flat, 9th fret, which is the same as an F sharp. Again, play them in that same order on the remaining 4 strings, the 4th string, the 3rd string, 2nd string, and 1st string. Again, your order is B flat or A sharp, moving on to E flat or D sharp, moving on to A flat or G sharp, then D flat or C sharp, and finally G flat or F sharp. So you can write down the names of those notes in that order, and write down like B flat equals A sharp or E flat equals D sharp. Just try to avoid like creating some kind of written tablature for where to play these notes. So we're not trying to learn to read tablature here. We're trying to pound in again the location of these individual note names on the neck to give us that good foundation of where the individual tones are on the neck, which is going to help us later in the series when we talk about triads and arpeggios and intervals and scales, modes, and chords, for example. So again, this is our basic building blocks, so to speak, for knowing the entire fretboard, and we're going to be building upon this as the series progresses. So finally, our third and last way of practicing these individual note names, instead of going up a single string, we're going to go across the neck from the 6th string to the 5th string to the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st string. So we'll start with one note at a time. So starting with the first tone in the sequence, B flat, which is the same as A sharp, which would be 6th fret, 6th string. Then we have B flat, A sharp, which would be the 1st fret on the 5th string. Moving up to the 8th fret on the 4th string, B flat or A sharp. 3rd fret on the 3rd string, B flat or A sharp. And then on the second string, we have B flat at the 11th fret, which is also an A sharp. And then finally, again, 6th fret on the first string, B flat or A sharp. You want to do that also with like the E flat or D sharp. Moving along to the 5th string, E flat or D sharp. 4th string, E flat or D sharp. 3rd string, E flat or D sharp. 2nd string, E flat or D sharp. 1st string, E flat or D sharp. Then finish the sequence order. Again, A flat or G sharp, D flat or C sharp, G flat or F sharp. So again, the probably the best way to practice this, since it's not overwhelmingly exciting or fun for that matter, is to just use it as like a 3-4 minute warm-up when you first pick up the guitar and you're going to start your practice routine. So just you know, get your fingers moving a little bit, picking the notes, just, you know, review the first week that we did with the natural notes and build on that by practicing the sharps and flats that I've given you this week. Next week will be, or next video, we'll be talking about the concept of octaves and where those octave shapes are on the neck, what an octave is, and that would basically be our, you know, taking our individual building blocks here and moving up or progressing in difficulty or complexity, so to speak. So again, practice these individual note names, and we'll have another video out for you in about a week.